Okay, so for what I think is the most controversial launch, I went non-tech and I chose the Tesla Cybertruck. And I need to preface this argument by saying that I know absolutely nothing about cars. In fact, I don't even own a vehicle. So I actually think that that's what makes this launch even more impressive, though. The fact that someone like me, who has absolutely no interest in this topic at all, is engaging with the launch and thinking about it months later. So if you don't know, if you were like me, the Cybertruck is essentially an electric full-size pickup truck from Tesla. It was originally introduced conceptually in 2019, so like many years ago, but it was officially launched in November of 2023. And as we know, the mastermind behind the Cybertruck is Elon Musk, who is constantly in controversy. So why would this product be any different? But I think it's important to know like why this matters to Tesla. So I did a bit of research and it shows that the 3 best-selling cars of 2023 were all pickup trucks. And so this is really important for Tesla if they want to continue to expand their market share of like vehicles in general. They need a piece of that market. But they're actually at a bit of a disadvantage heading into this launch. They have some ground to make up. When they first announced in 2019, they would have been the first car manufacturer to have an electric truck. But because their launch was heavily delayed several years, 2 of their competitors actually beat them to the punch. And so I'm sure when they were originally planning launch, they thought like their main differentiator was going to be they're the first one on the market, but they couldn't claim that anymore. And so they kind of needed to find other ways to make a splash. So that takes us to the controversy. What I like about this one is that there's 2 clear sides. So there's one camp who thinks that this is like the fuggliest truck that you've ever seen and just like an absolute insult to the concept of the pickup truck. But then there's also another side that thinks that like, this is the future. And, you know, I've never even considered buying a truck, but I'm going to buy a truck now. And it's like the power of really changing minds. So the first group, the naysayers, they're kind of asking some important questions. They're saying, do we want to support Elon Musk? Even if we like the vehicle itself, like he's a bit wild. This is kind of turning us away, just the fact that he's the one that built it. Is it even possible to deliver the vehicle? Apparently, they have to come up with an entirely new way of producing this because of the material it's made for. So it's like never been done before. So it's like, are they actually going to be able to deliver the product? And almost to Andy's point earlier, will this even be functional and safe? And there's like some real questions and concerns about that. But then on the other side, the people who are like kind of stoked for the launch, they're saying opposite things. So they just think that this is like the most cutting edge thing ever. They're comparing it to when Steve Jobs first introduced the iPhone. It's like this visionary futuristic product. They're also saying that actually it's a little bit less like a pickup truck. It's kind of a combination hybrid SUV and pickup. So you're getting the best of both worlds and they're actually going to be able to capture both markets. And it's like this brilliant strategy. And then the design itself, like some people actually do like the design. I don't know if I'm sure you guys have seen it, but they're saying that it's actually a great design example of what they're calling dystopian design, which is this resurgence of vehicles that look like they could probably be in like Mad Max or something. So really true, 2 polarizing sides. And this is what got me thinking online. I'll link the article, but it says the electric vehicle crowd used to think of Elon Musk as Tony Stark, and now they're starting to think of him as Lex Luthor. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's kind of all of the context going into the launch. So everyone's kind of waiting for it. There's already 2 camps. Originally, when it was going to be introduced, so let's talk about the launch. When it was going to be introduced, the largest piece of controversy was just the fact that it was electric. People were wondering if there was like going to be enough power or battery to actually support the lifestyle that comes with a truck. Completely different than a car, which you're thinking, well, I use my electric vehicle in the city. When you think of a truck, you think off-roading, camping, outdoorsy things that I know nothing about. But at the launch event, they introduced this tagline. It says, more utility than a truck, faster than a sports car. To back this up, they actually showed a video. It was not a live demonstration. It was a video. And I'm pretty sure the entire internet has seen it by now. Essentially, in the video, it's the Cybertruck, and it's racing a Porsche sports car. And it's beating the sports car in terms of speed. That's already impressive, right? But then we get to the end of the video and we see that actually not only is the Cybertruck racing a Porsche, but it's actually towing a Porsche at the same time while it's doing it. So the video goes viral. We've all seen it. It's everywhere. I think this is the first time I heard about the Cybertruck was when I came across the video. But it's not the only stunt that they did as part of launch. So one of the whole value props is that it's indestructible. And so they've done a ton of things to prove that as part of the launch campaign. So they've shot bullets at it. If you go to their YouTube channel, they actually have a video that shows why it's bulletproof. Joe Rogan shot an arrow. They threw metal balls. And actually interesting, when they first introduced the vehicle, the prototype, they threw the metal balls and it did break it. But now this time around at the official launch, it doesn't. So all this to say, my criteria when I was choosing something for this episode was I wanted something that was controversial, but also successful, not just like controversial and a bit of a flop. So I'm going to argue that I actually think that they did a good job at harnessing the controversy. So first, everyone is talking about it. Similar to the AI pin, it's like just one of those party conversation topics. And we know that this is in general going to translate to more Tesla sales. Whether or not you want the Cybertruck, like Tesla, the brand is top of mind for you. But I did some digging and like the Cybertruck is actually doing pretty well. 2 million people have put down a deposit on the truck. And since the launch event in November, they're getting 10,000 orders a day. And now I have no idea how many cars get sold at a time. So I wanted to know, like, is this good or bad? So to put it into perspective, they can only produce 150,000 trucks a year. So just from the launch campaign, they already have enough orders for the next 13 years of production. That's my case for the Cybertruck.
There you go. Yeah, that's a great one.
That was a great one.
And that's been that you could also make the case for that being like the longest launch too, because like they announced it. How many years ago was it when Elon Musk like stood on stage and did that like steel ball against like the
2019.
windows?
2019. So yeah, many years.
Cybertruck it's funny. Like I have a nephew, right? And so the nephew is 8 or 9 and he has a Cybertruck. Like he has a little toy Cybertruck. Like they're right. So it's not just, it has kind of, I don't know. It is, there's people other than like, tech forward kind of, I don't even know what you'd call them, who want the Cybertruck. Like kids think it's cool. Like it is a cool looking truck. And the other thing that I saw was a video in terms of like all those tests and things that they were doing. I saw this video and I don't know if it was done by Tesla or not, but it's basically a bus, I think, just driving into different cars to see what happens to them. So they're all just like up against a brick wall and they're all just pointed straight at it. And then a bus or a transport truck smashes into the back of them. It's interesting to think it's like SUVs, I think, for the most part. Some of them are totally destroyed. Ford Explorer or the Ford Expedition does pretty well, but literally hits the Cybertruck and the thing doesn't move. It's just like gunk and that's it. And I thought that was, again, like another thing where when I think about the Cybertruck, I'm like, man, that thing's indestructible.
Totally. And I think sometimes when you take a super polarizing take on something, like you make the claim, it's indestructible. You're almost like egging people on to try to challenge you, which then creates publicity, which is good publicity, right? And they're kind of banking probably on whether or not someone actually can break it. They're going to be, well, we didn't say a bus can't destroy it. Like they're always going to have a backup argument, but at least people are talking about it. People are creating content about it. And to your point, it's not just tech people or not just vehicle people either. Like I don't feel like I fall in any category of someone who'd be interested in this at all. And it still came across my radar.
Yeah. It's a good one.
I think this is also like the longest launch because I think it was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe like when Elon Musk did, like he threw like the steel ball against the window and announced it. And I feel like this is like almost like a funny example of like Rolling Thunder, where like every time there'd be some kind of like financial like call or like it would make waves anytime there's like a new update on like when the Cybertruck's going to be ready. And then it would like almost like restart all of like the conversation of like, oh, like, do you even like the Cybertruck? Like, it looks so ugly anyway. Like, all of like that negative stuff. But then like all of like the big pro Tesla people would like come out. So I feel like I'm actually blown away that only just now really launched. Like, I only just saw my first one like
if you'd
a few weeks ago.
I would have thought it was around for a while.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy that it just launched, it's really interesting where this idea of a polarizing launch, like, and maybe that's another word instead of controversial. It's like, how do you make a polarizing launch?
Yeah, totally.
It's like people who get it and want it, and the people who don't get it, just make the people who get it want it even more.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that was a good one.